Hello, and welcome to Gamic. I'm your host, Huck Finn. Today I want to talk a little bit about my weight loss adventure. And the reason I want to do this is because I hope that I can inspire other people to start taking the steps necessary to lose weight, especially if you're obese, morbidly obese, or super morbidly obese. I weighed 279.8 pounds. And the reason that's an important number is because I said I'm never going to let myself hit 280. And I came 0.2 pounds away from hitting a number that I said I was never going to hit. And the reason why that number got so high was because I always was moving the goalposts for myself. When I weighed 230, I said I'm never going to let myself hit 240. And then when I hit 240, I'm like, I'm never going to hit 250. And I'm never going to hit 260. And I'm never going to hit 270. And when I got to 279.8, I said, I keep moving the goalpost. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Eventually it's going to be, just as long as I don't weigh 500 pounds, I'll be okay. So I realized that I needed to start making some changes. And one of the easiest things that I did was I changed when I ate and how much I ate. That was it. And when I first started that, one of the things that I changed was I was drinking whole milk and having a bowl of cereal right before bed. I went to the store to buy some milk, and they were out of whole milk, all whole milk. So I had to switch to 2%. And just switching to 2% milk, just that, I didn't change anything else. I simply changed from whole milk to 2%, and I lost like 10 pounds. And once I got that 10 pounds lost, and I came back down from my threshold of, being 279.8, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to hit 280. And then when I came down, and then I was below 270, I was like, well, you know what? I said no to 280. How about no to 270? I'm below that, so I'm not going to let myself go above 270. And so I started to bring that number back down. And so then I was like, all right, what do I need to do? What else do I need to do to get myself down? And so I was like, all right, no more bowls of cereal before bed. And then I started changing that to, I'm not going to eat too late, just in general. I'm not going to eat anything after 8 p.m. And then I changed that to nothing after 7 p.m. And doing all of that, I was able to lose like 20 pounds. Then I said, okay, now I need to change how much I eat. So I was eating, I didn't even realize this until I started counting my calories, like seriously counting my calories. I was eating like 5,000 calories a day. That's a lot. Especially because I was probably burning maybe 2,500. So I was consuming 2,500 more calories than I was burning in a day. No wonder my weight was so high. So as soon as I started to say, all right, I'm going to have just a lean, modest breakfast, because I would wake up in the morning, and if I wasn't starving hungry, I didn't need to eat a huge breakfast because I wasn't hungry. But I would do it anyways before, so I changed that. And as I started reducing the portions that I ate, I was able to lose about 30 pounds just by changing those minor things. Then COVID hit. I had to stay home for my own safety. I have a lung condition, and COVID was I was working a high-risk retail job, and so I had to stay home. And since I wasn't working, I had to start exercising. And I started with just a gentle walk, 2 miles every day. That was it. And I do just naturally walk pretty quickly, so that wasn't even taking me 30 minutes, and I realized that I needed to increase that. So I started increasing it. Eventually I got up to 2.5 miles, and that was taking me about 30 minutes, and so I'm like, all right, I'm doing pretty good now. But I realized that I could just keep going with this. I could just, as long as I never let myself backtrack, as long as I never let myself do less than I did the day before, I'd be okay. I could just, as long as I kept moving forward, I would be okay. And so I would never make an increase unless I was planning to stick to that increase. And if I went from 2.5 to 3 miles, I said, okay, once I start doing 3, I got to do 3. I can't not do 3. I can't do 3 one day, then do 2.5 the next. And that was the thing that really got me, was when I said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stick to it. So I changed my diet a little bit. I didn't change what I ate. I just changed how much of what I was eating and when I was eating it. And then I added in exercise. And now, right, I went from, like I said, I started with 2 miles a day. That was it. Today, I do 7.5 miles a day at about 4.6 miles per hour, which is a pretty decent walking speed, given that the average person walks about 3 to 3.5 miles per hour. I'm walking pretty quick for 7.5 miles. So that is the kind of progress you can make when you start with a reasonable goal and you just stick to it, and you stick to that goal. And if you get to, let's say you can't even make it to the mailbox. Let's say you can make it halfway to the mailbox. Make it halfway to the mailbox every day. And keep doing that until you can make it all the way to the mailbox. And then once you make it all the way to the mailbox, keep doing that. Don't let yourself backslide. But make sure that you're setting reasonable goals, so that way you won't feel inclined to backslide. That's going to be the biggest thing that will help, is when you say, all right, if I have to do it, if I'm not ready to go all the way to the mailbox, I still feel like I need another week of just going halfway. Do that, because it's more than what you've been doing before. So keep that up. Keep that motivation going, where it's like, all right, at least I'm going halfway to the mailbox every day. And then once you decide to go to the mailbox every day, it might be tough, but then you go to the mailbox every day. And then you do that for as long as it takes. You do that every day for as long as it takes until you can go to the mailbox and back, and then halfway to the mailbox. So 1.5 trips to the mailbox, right? And then eventually it'll be 2 trips. And then eventually maybe you can go to the end of the block and back. And then maybe you can go around the block and back. If you start somewhere and you don't let yourself backslide, that's going to be the thing that will get you going. Because, like I said, I started at 2 miles, just 2 miles. And now I'm up to 7.5. I do free weight exercises. I do abdominal exercises. I do planking. I do planking on balance balls, right? There are these little round things that cause instability, to cause you to use more of your muscles. I mean, I've been able to get up to that point. And I've lost, when I was just doing just weight loss stuff, when I wasn't actually trying to add muscle, I managed to get down to like 185. Which is pretty decent, all things considered. 280 essentially to 185. Right? That's almost 100 pounds. That's 95 pounds that I lost. Now, I've put some weight back on in the form of muscle, which I'm okay with, because I do have muscle. I have some definition now. I can lift heavier things with ease and stuff like that. So that will come eventually, right? But when it comes to just losing weight, the most important thing is just to not let yourself backslide. Start with reasonable goals. And when I mean reasonable, I'm talking really, really reasonable. And just do them every single day. Don't go out and spend a bunch of money on exercise clothes and new shoes and heart rate monitoring things and exercise headphones and all this other stuff, and then wake up one morning and say, I'm going to go for a 5-mile run, because that is going to be the thing that will cause you to feel overwhelmed. And when you start to look at it, you go, God, I spent all this money on this stuff, but I went for a 5-mile run yesterday, and I woke up this morning and I feel like I want to die. And then you hate yourself because you spent all this money on something that you don't feel like you can do anymore. So start small. Start with modest, reasonable goals that you can do every single day. And as long as you're doing them every single day, it's something more than what you've been doing. Then you can increase and make modest increases, something that you can achieve again, right? Halfway to the mailbox, all the way to the mailbox, a little bit beyond the mailbox, whatever it takes. Little modest goals that are achievable that you can do every single day. I keep saying it because that's what really helps. That's the thing that'll get you to being able to walk 7.5 miles a day at 4.6 miles per hour. So, I don't know what else I can say to try and help motivate you, to help you realize that weight loss is possible. Because like I said, I haven't changed my diet. I could probably lose more fat if I did, but I like the things that I eat. I do eat healthy, but I do eat things that are unhealthy. And I do like to eat out. I do like to eat fast food. There are times when it's, life gets a little crazy and you're starving and you just don't feel like cooking some lean protein with vegetables. And so you have to run out and grab something to eat. Burning those extra calories helps with that. And one thing that I've seen these other, and I don't know what's going on with this, but I've seen these videos that are popping up that say cardio is not going to help you lose weight. There is a guy that did some research on how fat exits the body. And a lot of people think that it is excreted as waste, that you either poop it or pee it out. And that is not entirely the case. That's actually a very minimal amount of how fat leaves the body. When you burn fat, when you think about when you burn anything, what happens to it, right? When you burn, let's say, paper, if you look at the flame, what's happening is the material is being heated up, gases are being excreted, and it's the gases that are on fire. The same thing happens with fat. So as you burn fat, it's turned into carbon dioxide. And how do you get rid of carbon dioxide? You breathe. Cardio gets your heart rate up, causes you to breathe more. When you're burning fat, you're exhaling more carbon dioxide, and that is how fat is leaving your body. So cardio exercise is important to burning fat. So these videos that you're seeing that say don't do cardio, it's actually counterproductive, that's not true. You do need cardio in order to get the burned fat gas out of your body. That is how that is going to work. So I want to leave you with, you can do this. It does not matter if you are 800 pounds or 8 pounds overweight. Just start somewhere. Pick a modest, reasonable goal that you can do every single day, and only make an increase when you're ready to stick with it. And when you do that, you will find that you can and will lose weight.